man. One must die, chase the cat.
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. We are back live, large and in charge. I'm getting applause. We had in very close proximity to the last rerun, a rerun last week, because someone had a party to go to, and that's all good. We don't hold any grudges here, but it just was not going to happen logistically to be able to get on the air. So we had a pass, and we reran a show from January, which was the rerun of Project Precious Rescue's visit here to Posse Presents. And boy, did I fawn over that meatball. I didn't realize what a fool I made of myself over that dog, but he was fabulous. Remember Meatball? He was pretty cool. Large and in charge himself and all over Katie and Christy, and just, he was really cool. I fawned all over him because he was fabulous. But anyway, it was a first last week for me because I actually got to see myself on TV. Now, you know, yeah, I watch YouTube all the time, and that's not an ego thing. It's like quality control, make sure it copied all right and whatever. But any of the shows that I've been on Sky 13 are live or have been live. You know, I was on 2 other live shows, including Posse Presents when it started, but the other 2 shows I started coming on prior to this, and yeah, got to see bits and pieces on YouTube, but never got that sensation that you, the viewer, will get, who will watch it live, of like sitting on my couch with my dogs and killing half a bag of chips with salsa and watching myself on TV. Now, someone said to me, so what did I think? And like really all I can say is like it looks different than the computer. I mean, it looks a lot different than the computer. I don't do this because I like the way I look or sound. I do this because I have a message and I'm here to deliver my message, you know, regardless of the visual and the audio and, you know, whatever. But yeah, it was a very first for me, and I guess I've kind of recovered. You know, like I said, I had to eat half a bag of chips with salsa to get through it. But it is what it is. And on with the show here, one of the dogs that we talked about back in January, Hercules, is still looking for a home. Hard to believe. Zach, can we get that collage up of Hercules? It's amazing that this sweetie pie, who has been through so much, still has to find his forever home. He was in a foster home, and they relocated, and unfortunately can't take him with them. You really can't fault them. They were a foster. You know, it wasn't a lifetime commitment. They've had him since, you know, I mean, let's see, they were on here in January, so they've had him for the better part of a year, which is a pretty long-term commitment, but, you know, sometimes you just can't. But unfortunately, he's got no place to go. And he's so deserving of a secure, stable, and loving environment. He was pulled from the pound with horrible skin issues. He had both mange and secondary infections. I mean, the ladies said that he was just, they were pulling off handfuls of skin. And that's just unbelievable, unthinkable, that he was in so much pain and he was in agony and he was still a love. And now he's recovered. You know, he's got the fur, he looks fabulous, he's a wonderful dog, and he's ready to go home, but no one has stepped up for him. So unfortunately, you know, he's in, you know, a temporary boarding situation, and it's very temporary. You know, the boarding is not a fix. It's you know, a move to you know, put a dog in a safe place, but it's definitely not, especially if he's been in a home, not fair to him to be back kind of behind bars. But he is a 45-pound mush, not even a year and a half old. He needs to be either an only dog or to live with a more submissive housemate. You know, some dogs just, it has to be the right chemistry, and he happens to be one of them. And, you know, he's just, I think, every bit worth checking out. Look at that face. Look at how beautiful he really is. And he's come so far. If you see the pictures on top where he was a hot mess, and you see that beautiful face down on the bottom, how can you refuse? He's just fabulous. So if you're interested in Hercules or any of the dogs or cats that Project Precious Rescue has up for adoption, you can email them at projectpreciousrescue, all one word, at gmail.com. That's Project Precious Rescue, all one word, at gmail.com. And you can also check out their Facebook page, which is Project Precious Rescue. Now, we will take the camera back, Zach, and hopefully Hercules finds at least a foster very soon, because really the situation for him in particular is dire. Like I said, you know, yes, there are times where you have to put a dog in boarding because you don't have another option, but he really deserves to be either, you know, on a foster couch or a forever couch and just get on with his happy life because he's got so much to give. Now, if you remember, the last show we did was with Hannah and Debbie, and we talked about Joe, and Joe is still available, so keep that in mind because he really does need a home. And, you know, a lot of cats just like him out there with FIV and a couple of other things that we talked about. Just really, they're niche adoptions, and you're really serving a great purpose by taking cats in that have these problems. But we also talked about a dog named Rudy who was lost in Waterbury. Now I'm going to put the emphasis on was, because he was found the next day, which was a fabulous thing. Many thanks to the woman who actually saw him on 84 and saw Rudy's poster, put two and two together, and pretty much risked her neck going up into the median on 84 to, you know, try to get her eyeball on him and see what she could do, and he wouldn't come to her, but she was able to get in touch with Blaine, Rudy's dad, and Blaine got in touch with the state police, and after a series of some pretty dramatic events, they closed down 84, and Blaine was able to get to Rudy, and Rudy actually jumped right into Blaine's arms. Now, this whole rescue defies everything we're taught about lost dogs and behavior. You know, usually they're in survival mode and, you know, they won't even come to their owners. And true to form, Rudy was afraid of all the people that were gathering around. But he was even a little afraid of Blaine at first. But Blaine, his dad, was pretty smart, and he, you know, heeded all the stuff that we pounded into his head for like the however long it was that Rudy was gone. And he called to him in a low voice, and he whistled, and Rudy realized it was him, and just totally like ran down the hill and just jumped on him. Wished I could have been there to see that, but believe it or not, yes, I was home doing the thing I do the best, taking phone calls, posting stuff on Facebook like the blow-by-blow. There was supposed to be a meetup in the commuter lot that day to hang posters and do our thing, walking around looking for him. And instead it turned into kind of a victory welcome home party, which was really, really cool. Zach, can we get the picture, the reunion picture? And there we are. We all piled into this parking lot, and like I said, it was more than anyone could have asked for. You know, it was no hanging posters that day. Unlike the previous day, it was all about the celebration. You know, it's just amazing. And yes, there I am. Definitely not TV pretty in that picture, but you know, I was supposed to be going to work and not really going to be a part of the process that day, but I ended up getting caught up in it from home. And when I heard the news that he had Rudy, there was no way I wasn't going to go and meet Rudy, you know? I mean, it was just far too cool. And, you know, there's Rudy, who looks the happiest of all. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a dog smile so big. And you look at that dog, it's like he knows. He's like, yeah, baby, I'm home. But that's Rudy with his dad and his mom. And behind there, there's a few wonderful people. One is Jen Sadler, who I had given a shout out to, Denise Sorosky, an old friend, and Cindy Pelletier, who is a wonderful person, and she is the one who took over the search for another dog in Waterbury over a year ago. Zach, let's cruise over to Timmy. Timmy has been missing for probably about a year and a half. Now, he's been profiled here before, so we're just going to give everyone a reminder. You know, Cindy was there to help try to do what she could for Rudy, and I'm very sure that it was like a bittersweet moment for her, having a dog out there that she's been endlessly searching for. You know, happy on the one count, and then, you know, it just brings home the fact that she's way overdue for finding Timmy. Unfortunately, there's only a few pictures of Timmy, and this is one of them. Timmy's story, it's kind of, it's long and full of drama, but Timmy was a dog who was brought up, I think it was Arkansas. My facts are kind of escaping me, but he was not a local dog. He was an outside dog. Most of his interaction with people was when he was getting fed, you know. No real bonding with people, no social skills, and he was rescued from that environment, and the rescue sent him up this way, him and his sister, and he was supposedly ready for adoption. He was adopted out to a woman who, after 3 hours of having him, took him for a walk, supposedly fell, dropped a leash, Timmy ran off, you know, and that was the end of Timmy, basically. This original person that adopted him, you know, put up a good front and made kind of like she was looking for him and cared, but very early on she turned on all the people who were helping her, and she, you know, closed down Timmy's page, said she wasn't looking for him anymore, you know, turned her back on Timmy. And much to Cindy's credit, Cindy picked up the search and carried on and took on the whole responsibility of standing by Timmy and trying to make sure that somehow, some way, he's found. There's reason to believe he's still out there. You know, there's people who have said they've seen him in the trail, that they throw him food. You know, there's cameras set up and really very questionable glimpses of maybe Timmy here and there, but, you know, the last sighting has been quite a while ago. Really, how can we give up on Timmy if he is still out there? You know, he's deserving of a home life. You know, like I said, there's only a few pictures to work with, and I'm sure that he's thinner. I'm sure he's, you know, dirty. The nature of his fur has changed. But if you have any information, if you have any clue, if you can give any hope, you know, you're encouraged to call Cindy, and her number is 860-729-8483. Once again, that's 860-729-8483. And the Facebook page is Bring Timmy Home. And, you know, really, it's a great page. It's a tight-knit community. The videos and the pictures that are posted of the things that are found where the cameras are set up are pretty amazing. You would never expect some of the wildlife that have been caught on camera. There have been other dogs that have been seen on camera. You know, every dog has a story. Every lost dog seems to find another dog. and gonna seg right through to that. Zach, give me the camera back, please. A lot of these dog searches do end up finding either one or a number of dogs in the process, and the search for Rudy was no exception. There was reportedly a sighting of Rudy in the area that, you know, he was suspected to maybe have been in. And now it seems clear that there was another dog that was running around that same area. They were calling him Rudy too for a while there. He was picked up in the same area, like I said, that Rudy was running around in, and it kind of dashed the hopes that, you know, Rudy was actually sighted. But in the process, someone was able to pick up Rudy too, who is actually now Romeo at the Waterbury Pound. Zach, can we have the Rudy 2 poster? We had Granite State Dog Recovery is a great place. When Rudy was missing, they did up a poster for him. And when this little guy was found, they didn't waste any time putting up a found dog poster. And as you could see right there, is that this is not Rudy. Similar coloring, you know, maybe some of the same markings, but definitely not Rudy. Definitely not the same breed. But he was found in the area of Chase Parkway near Lakeside Boulevard. He's got one brown eye, one blue eye. He's a young male. He's friendly and playful. He's like a really, really cool dog from what I understand. And unfortunately, you know, like I keep preaching, the pounds are full, so there's no way to tell how long he will actually have. And if someone is interested in adopting him, they're actually going to save, you know, 2 lives. They'll save his and the next dog that doesn't have to die because there's no room. So if you happen to know who this dog might belong to, he had a collar on. And if he's roaming the neighborhood, that is really not something that should be happening. It's amazing to think that a couple of weeks have gone by and no one has searched him out. So he is up for adoption now at the pound. So if you've got any interest in him, don't delay. 203-574-6909 is the number to call. The entire Rudy camp is definitely behind him and hoping that there will be, you know, a happy ending for him where he'll end up in a loving home that won't let him out to wander and, you know, have anything at all happen to him. It's a shame to think that dogs are dumped and dogs are just let right out the door, because that's pretty much what people do. But this is a really cool guy who needs a home. Like I said, they're calling him Romeo at the pound, and he's been posted like everywhere that could be posted. And certainly, please consider doing your share for him, even if it's just sharing him, and that's fine. Right now, the Rudy is Lost, Please Help Find Him page is now Rudy's Lost and Found Pets. And, you know, you can feel free to post any lost dog or found dog there, but you will find information about this little guy on that page as well. I will take the camera back. And I know everybody'd rather look at the cute dogs than me, but that's okay. I'm with that. You know, there are still many urgent dogs in the state. Hartford has had an incredible number of multiples on the same day. Keep in mind that, you know, Hartford's a little different than the rest of the pounds, whereas when the rest of the pounds fill up, you know, they have like, you know, all right, we need X amount of kennels, and, you know, this is how many dogs are going to go if they don't find homes. Hartford has a basic 10-day policy where on the 10th day, if they're not adopted when their hold is up, then they're gone. So they have had multiples on the same day, which is really kind of hard to pull off, and fortunately they seem to every time. But Hartford, New Haven, many of the other pounds, there were many, many dogs that are dying this summer, and, you know, I I talk about it all the time. It's reality. And, you know, everybody has the power to do something to change that, whether it's sharing the dogs on Facebook, networking with your friends, your relatives, your coworkers, your relatives' friends, coworkers, anybody that you can possibly talk to. You know, somebody who's looking for an animal or maybe doesn't even know they're looking for an animal. You know, you got to get everybody on board. When you see these dogs, these urgent dogs posted on Facebook, don't just like it, share it. I've said it over and over. If people don't like the stuff you're posting on Facebook, they can basically take you out of their news feeds. They don't have to see it. But then the people who really do matter, who will also share it, will see it. And it's by sharing and networking that these animals are saved. Like I said, too many dogs have died this year. And to the best of my knowledge, the remaining 2 of my birthday dogs did not make it out of where they were alive. So that's awful for me. It's awful for any dog. It shouldn't have to happen, but it does. And like I said, you have the power to help change that. And if you're someone who can foster, you really are saving a life. And I know I beat like this to death, but it's true. And, you know, the only thing that you'll feel good, you know? I mean, if you can hook up with a rescue and foster through them, you know, there's a lot of benefit to that, unless you're in a position to do it on your own. But that becomes a little harder, especially when it comes time to try to find a decent adopter. You know, at least if you've got a rescue to back you up, you have a safety net as far as, you know, placing that animal. So please, you know, the summer's not over yet, and the bad times are not over for these animals. You know, really, they're never over because people are so irresponsible, but you can play a part, and I'm begging you to do that. You know, again, awareness is key. Share them. Do your part. And I want to bring your attention to the new Adopt bulletin board on the side of 84. It's just past where I would say exit 25. Like the entrance ramp is. It's a rotating bulletin board, billboard. And it actually has Save a Life, Adopt a Pet Today, and it's got this beautiful dog face on it. And it's really cool. And the first time I saw it was the other day, and I really almost teared up because, like, I'm a fool like that, and that's all right. Trying to get a picture of it. Like I said, it's a rotating bulletin board. You're on the highway. It's not probably the coolest thing to try to do. So if somebody can beat me to it and send me a picture, that'd be cool, because I would love to show it for everybody to see. But I would like to, at this point, Zach, real quick, pull up my little comic, because if anything sums me up, this like really totally does. If you're not familiar with Mutt's Comics, this is one of their little comics. The cat is Mooch and the dog is Earl, and there is Mooch up on his soapbox, calling for people to adopt. I know that, you know, if the shoe fits, wear it. And right now I'm wearing a necklace, thanks to a dear friend, which is exactly that. And, you know, like I said, it's me. It really is. Maybe me would be the dog up there instead of the cat, but in either case, it's totally cool. And I am thankful for my new piece of jewelry. And if everybody shares that, maybe, you know, it'll help the case, because we really do have to all do our part to help save these animals, because their lives are in our hands, and that's all she wrote with that one. If you can save one animal, you've done more than a lot of other people have done. Zach, how much time we got left? 3 minutes? I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, okay, but I can see fingers. Okay. All right, you can give me the camera back. And I will get on one of my next favorite things to go on my little soapbox about, and that is very quickly backyard breeders. You know, there's too many instances of people who think that, you know, they're just going to make money on breeding dogs, and, you know, oh, this one's cute and that one's cute, and, you know, then they're selling puppies at 4 weeks old, 3 weeks old, 5 weeks old. People, these puppies are not going to survive in anybody's hands, in just anybody's hands. Nobody knows what to do with a puppy that young. Not too many people do. You know, they have special requirements. They really should be with their parents or with their mother for at least 8 weeks for health reasons, for socialization reasons. You know, you start handing puppies off so young to people, and you put them at so much risk. And I realize that you're just in it for the buck, and you really don't care about the well-being of the animal, but knock it off, because these animals are either going to die before they ever get to grow up, or they're going to die because the people that you're dumping them off on are going to dump them off at the pound. So stop breeding, spay and neuter, and stop contributing to the problem. Stop trying to make money off the backs of animals, because it's just not the right thing to do. Not going to get into a recent incident, but yes, it involved a very young puppy, and it's just not cool, because people do not know what to do with an animal that young. They just don't. And you don't care, but other people end up having to care, and it's just got to stop. Spay, neuter, stop breeding your animals. You know, that's about all I've got. So anyway, I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. And I know that Celeste and Dawn, if you're watching, you just did it with me. Have a good night, and we'll see you next weekend. I hear Zach, but I don't know what he's saying, so I'm just going to keep waving.